one, you use two colors, really expensive ruler, and your notebook or piece of paper. Okay. As usual, we're gonna do Mr. J's notes. And room at the bottom for exercise or summary. Depends on what I want to do. And then space on the left side for the main topics so you can organize your paper. Okay. So, what we're going to do today is multiplying and dividing negatives. Okay. First thing I want to do though before we start this is to review adding and subtracting. A really quick review. So we have 6 minus 7. Whatever you want to think of this, you have 6 positives, 7 negatives. That mean they're going to fight, and the negatives win by 1. You have negative 6 minus 7. They're both negative, so they work together, so it's just a lot of bad guys. It's 13 bad guys, because you just add them together and it's negative. We have negative 6 plus 7. Again, 6 negatives, 7 positives. They're different, so they fight, but there's more positives. And there's one more. And then the obvious one, if they're both positive, they're both good guys, so they work together, we get 13. Okay? That was just a quick review. Hopefully by now you're starting to understand. Okay, so let's look at actual multiplying and dividing. Multiplying and dividing. Okay? Now, the one thing we want to start about, or want to start before we, one thing I want to say before we start is this rule I'm going to teach you is only for, 1 second, change the light a little bit. This rule is only for multiplying and dividing. And not for adding and subtracting. I say this because in the future you will confuse these, so hopefully I do a good job doing this. Alright, so the first rule is if they are the same sign, the answer is positive. And what I mean by is a positive times a positive equals a positive. And a negative times a negative equals a positive also. Okay? And if you're confused right now, I will explain why. It makes sense. Okay. And lastly, next, if they are different signs, so if they're different, the answer is negative. And what I mean by that is positive times a negative equals a negative. And negative times a positive equals a negative. So if they're the same in multiplying and dividing, only in multiplying and dividing, if they're the same, the answer is positive. If they're different, the answer is negative. Okay? I used a third color, I apologize. It was by accident, but I had to continue. Okay. So that's the rules in words. Let's actually look at it with examples, okay? So the next part is examples. So if you are watching this, I want you to put a line under examples. So put a line right here under examples. So if you're watching, put a line under examples. All right. We're going to look at both cases. The left side here, we're going to look at if they are the same sign. Okay? And the right side, if you can guess it, different sign. So let's start with same sign. Let's look at positive times a positive. Now this one hopefully is kind of obvious, but I want to do it so it helps with the explanation of the other one. Positive 4 times a positive 5. Everyone knows that's 20, but just let me do this. So this positive 4 means you have, oh, actually I forgot one thing really quickly. Let's add it right here before I forget. I've already said this, but multiplication is repeated addition. Okay. So multiplication is repeated addition. So this means 4 times 5, that means you have 4 5s, but they're positive, so. And that is a positive 20. So this equals 20. Okay, and now a little bit more confusing. Negative times negative. This one is a little bit more confusing, so hopefully you can understand it. We have a negative 4 times a negative 5. Now, when this was a positive 4, you added a positive 5. Now it's a negative 4 to negative 5, so you're going to subtract a negative 5 4 times. So a negative minus 5 1 time, a negative minus 5 2 times, a negative minus 5 3 times, and a negative minus 5 4 times. Because we have a negative and a negative, so it's negative negative. Here we have plus plus, so it's plus plus. Now, if you take away a negative, so if you think of negative as like money that you need to pay, if I take away that money that you need to pay, it's like giving you money. So if you owe me $5, but I say, you know what, I'm going to take that away, it's like you earned $5. So this is really like saying plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5, which is plus 20. So it again equals negative, positive. I'm going to write a little note here at the bottom. Subtracting a negative is like adding. Okay? So if you take away a negative, you're giving the person money. If that's a little confusing, we'll talk about it more. Alright, different sign. Okay, so let's do positive times negative. So we have a positive 4 times a negative 5. Negative 5. Now, if we look up here, it says the answer, since they're different symbols, should be negative. So different signs, negative. These are different, it should be negative. Let's check it. This 4 means you're adding 4 times. So you do a plus, negative 5, plus, negative 5, plus -5 plus -5. Like you're adding -5 together, they work together. So you add a -5, so that's 4 -5s added together. So bad guy plus a bad guy plus bad guy plus bad guy is 20 total bad guys. So this equals -20. Okay? And we'll see that negative times a positive is similar. Again, they're different signs, so the answer should be negative. So we'll say now -4 times +5. And what this means is you're subtracting 4 times a +5. So it's a -5, -5, -5, -5, 5 bad guys, 5 bad guys, 5 bad guys, 5 bad guys is a total of 20 bad guys. So that equals -20. Okay? And if you're reading this or watching this, put a little star right here. Okay? So put a star right here if you're watching this. Star right here. Okay. And now for the last part, you are going to do exercises. Okay? So, exercises. We're going to do a couple of review. Do 7 minus 12, -7 minus 12, 3 times -5, -3 times 5, -3 times -6, +3 times +6. And now that I'm thinking about this, I never actually talked about dividing, but the rule is the same. If it's the same sign with division, the answer is positive. Same sign with a different sign with division, negative. So let's see if we can do that. 10 divided by -5 equals, and -12 divided by -6 equals. Okay? So there are your exercises. There's 8, but hopefully they don't take too long. Under 13 minutes. Not bad. Not great, but not bad.